Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
It is so cool to meet you.
Thank you. You too.
I've never you have such a huge following for everything that you've done. It is absolutely incredible.
I'm very lucky. Yeah.
Like there's people outside waiting for you.
Are there really at the hotel?
Because they're not waiting for me, so they're waiting for you.
They might be. You look very sharp today, so
yeah, my
I
pajama
think.
top.
They were like, that guy.
You know, when you signed on to do Daredevil, is there like a ton of pressure to get this right?
I mean, yes and no. You know, I think that comic book fans are really adaptable. You know, they're used to seeing these stories evolve and change over time. So, I don't know, I felt like I really, really wanted people to like it. And I really wanted, like, my bosses, like Joe Quesada, to really like it, you know. But on the other hand, it was like we're doing this new, cool thing, and I was excited to surprise people as well.
It seems like if you look at TV and you look at movies, we're in this massive need for comic book shows and movies right now. Why do you suppose that is? Like, there's so many comic book characters coming to life now more than ever. Well,
I mean, I think this isn't a terribly uplifting thought necessarily, but I think this is a scary time right now. I think there's a lot of scary things going on and things that we feel a little helpless about. And superheroes are one way to kind of imagine that there are people out there who will take a stand against injustice and stand up for what's right.
And we all loved you on, of course, True Blood.
Oh, thank you.
I was looking forward to meeting you because you don't actually have vampire teeth.
I don't have teeth?
No.
What?
Which is like,
I know, we filed them down after the show.
It seems that you really pick roles that are going to always stand the test of time or always, just be really iconic and memorable.
Well, thank you.
Is that the thought process that you go through when you're picking the things that you want to do?
Well, it always makes me giggle when people are like, when you pick your roles, and I'm like, oh no, I fought for that.
But she didn't giggle.
I didn't giggle. I giggled internally. But I guess there's this idea that we just go out and pick what we would like to do. But no, I audition for everything, and you're just lucky if something happens to come your way.
Like, how would you audition for something like this? Do you have to go in and pretend to be, like, do you overdo and like?
No, I mean, you get your sides and you do your job and you go and you show them what kind of an actor you are, and they decide whether that works or not for them. But it's not like I'm going like, so I would really like to do this project, so I'll just show up on Monday, I'm certainly drawn to certain projects, and I will pass on certain things if I feel like they're not going to be challenging or representing a type of character that I would like to work on. But for the most part, I think I've been lucky enough to work in this genre world where these are epic, extreme stories, and that, sort of by definition makes
I would have
memorable.
done this just so I can get an action figure of myself.
I know, I hope that will happen. I don't know, Karen might not be actiony enough to get a figure.
Can we get her an action figure,
I really want
people?
An action
Can
figure.
we make one for her?
It would be cool. She'd be all noir and like her little pencil skirts and stuff. It'd be cool.
Oh, I'd buy that.
Yeah. And then she could kick some butt.
Nice. Were you always a fan of comic books, or like were you a comic book geek growing up?
I was not a comic book person growing up, but I have more so in the recent years because my boyfriend was a comic book geek his whole life. He's like
awesome.
15,000 comic books. It's an incredible
I don't read them. I
collection.
collect them. Is he the same? Like I don't read.
He does.
them.
No, he totally reads them. He does both.
Because then it ruins the edges.
Well, this is something I learned. I learned about bagging and boarding. I learned about how you hold them, so you can't,
We're talking about comics, not drugs. When
Oh,
she
that's
said
right.
bagging.
Yes,
Just saying.
bag and boarding is a nerdy comic book term that I know all about now.
Now, I read that you dyed your hair red. Like you were not always a redhead, and I found it so cool that you dyed your hair. Was it to fit in growing up?
Not to fit in, almost the opposite in a way.
Because I would assume like redheads have. What's he saying? Redheads have the most fun.
Oh, I wasn't those blondes? I thought blondes had the most fun. I don't know.
Oh, then I read the wrong thing.
It's an old stereotype. But it was sort of the opposite because I am so fair and I had a lot of trouble fitting in when I was younger. And I felt a little bit like I kind of blended into the background because I had no contrast in my coloring. And that's not to say that that's true of other people who were blonde. But for me, I needed something physical that made me feel substantial, made me feel like I couldn't just be pushed aside.
Could you just wear a hat?
No, that would have been
funky
too
hat?
conspicuous. I needed something like in that sweet spot of like,
Nice.
I am a full solid person, but don't look at me too much, kind of thing.
Last question for you, and I've always wanted to know this when I watch like movies
Yeah.
or TV shows, and they're doing like close scenes
Okay.
or talking like for coffee or whatever. As an actor, what do you do if the person you're acting opposite has like bad breath or something? How do you deal with the smell of bad breath if you're an actor, but yet you still have to keep your composure and do your scene?
Well, sometimes you just say something. You
Really?
know, luckily, for the most part, the people that I've worked with, we have all been close enough that you can be like, you could use a mint, and vice versa, because sometimes you don't know. But I think also the whole thing about acting is it's very all-consuming. You start to do it, and kind of the world fades away a little bit. So sometimes I don't even notice.
Because you watch scenes sometimes, and like the person, if they're yelling, they're like
Yeah.
spitting on each other,
Yeah.
and you're like, how do you?
Oh, yes, all par for the course. You accept that as soon as you're like, yes, I would like to be an actor.
Spit on me.
Spit on me, breathe on me, I'm cool.
Awesome. Congratulations. I have heard nothing but insane buzz for Daredevil.
yay.
It's what everyone's talking about, so it's going to be huge.
Oh, thanks. I'm so excited.
Kiss.